Welcome to day 155. And that behind me is the Four Pines Hostel near Catawba, Virginia. So I spent the night last night. A wood-burning stove inside that building. It was quite comfortable. It is not so comfortable out here right now. It's about 38 degrees and with a nice breeze. So I gotta get cracking here. I've got to go down the road about 3/10 of a mile to get back on the trail. And then I start right out with a 2,000-foot climb up to Dragon's Tooth. The Dragon's Tooth is the third of the Virginia Triple Crown. Yesterday, you saw me do Tinker Cliffs and the McAfee Knob. And so today's the last one, Dragon's Tooth, which I understand is a nearly vertical climb, 2,000 feet. We then descend, we do another 2,000-foot climb up something else, and then drop down to a possible campsite or a shelter. It's 17 miles to the next shelter. That's a long ways to go. It's 8 a.m. and I'm getting a later start than I wished, but we had to wait for breakfast and whatnot. I'll probably be finishing after dark today. It's supposed to drop down into the low 30s below freezing tonight. And not sure about getting to the shelter. It's 17 miles and there's a 500-foot climb right before you get there. So we'll see how that goes. Pack is heavier than I would like because it's 68 miles to the next town and the next resupply. So might do that in 4 days, but just to be on the safe side, I've got 5 days of food and there's no water for the next 10 miles. So I'm carrying out 1,700 milliliters or nearly 2 liters of water. So I got a lot of weight here for this initial climb. So I'm gonna get down here the road, take a right, walk down the trailhead and get the day started. Continuing to climb up the Dragon's Tooth, and I got a view here. And looks to me like that right down there, that red building with the doors, I think that's where we spent the night last night. I think that's the hostel. Anyway, climb continues. It's pretty steep. You can see over here it's pretty rocky and some of it gets pretty steep. This is what I'm talking about here. There's the rock in front of me, and then if you look up, there's a white blaze way up there. And this is just basically an old rock wall I have to climb up. So look at this rock wall. You see the blazes down here, and then the blazes up there. One right there, and there's one way up there. Anyway, looks like a challenging little climb. I haven't really faced anything like this since New England. Whoa! It is cold and windy, and I've taken my tights off, and all I'm wearing is a long sleeve t-shirt and shorts. So I'm gonna haul booty on out of here, but it's freaking freezing. That was a long climb and steep. All right, so up and over the Dragon's Tooth, I've got another big climb to do, and I can't tell if you can see this on the camera, but it's starting to snow. So very good. First snow of the year. I'm gonna stop here and put my rain gear on. It's cold and windy. I don't want to get wet. That would be very bad. I'm happier to have snow than I am to have rain though. So it's certainly better than to get soaking wet. So I'm gonna put the camera away, change into my rain gear and keep walking. Whoops, I did it again. So I hit 1,500 miles 3/10 of a mile ago, and I forgot to make my little stick figure. But it's all good. And to be honest, I've had snow off and on now for the last hour or so. It's cold. It's going to be windier because I got to start ascending the next mountain. And I have about 1,500 feet of vertical to go to get over that mountain and then down the other side. So I just wasn't thinking about doing my little stick figure. I kind of want to get this day over with and get someplace and get my tent set up or get into the shelter. So sorry, but we're at 1,500 miles. All right, I'm crossing Trout Creek. This is at the bottom between the two mountains. I think I stopped and go back up over the second mountain. And it's about 2.9 miles to the top of that one. And then it's back down to, well, it stopped snowing for the time being. I just met two locals out for a day hike, and they were surprised to see me out here. And they said they're not used to seeing thru hikers in November. And I said, well, I didn't think I'd be here in November, but here I am. And one fellow said, well, you're not going to get to Georgia. And I said, why not? They said, well, not this year. And I said, well, maybe not by December 31st, but I intend to get to Georgia on this hike. So anyway, we'll see. It's really cold and windy. I'm going to push on as far as I can. If it gets, ridiculous, I'll have to stop. I'm not an idiot. And, well, I kind of am an idiot, but not that kind of an idiot. If the weather gets too dangerous to proceed, then I'll have to take a break. But for now, the plan is to push on. So off I go. Snowing now. It's not sticking, probably not cold enough. Anyway, pressing on. I got about 3.1 miles to the campsite. I'm not sure if my guys are going to be there or if they've moved on to the shelter. We'll see when I get down there. And that's really snowing. I don't know if you can hear the wind, but the wind's blowing pretty bad too. Okay, it's getting dark. It stopped snowing. Fortunately, it snowed pretty hard for a while there. And so it's getting dark. I'm gonna pull out my headlamp in a minute here. We knew that we were gonna have to have headlamps today because it gets dark at like 5:15. It's ridiculous. And we got a late start. We didn't start till 8:30 because, we're at the hostel and we had to wait for breakfast, et cetera, et cetera. So we knew we'd be out after dark today. The campsite is about 0.5 of a mile, about half a mile down. I don't know if the two guys I'm hiking with, Boom Boom and Breeze, they stopped at that campsite or if they continued on to the shelter, which is another 2.3 miles. So we'll see. If I get to the campsite and they're not there, I will continue on. All right, it is after 6 p.m. And I got to the campsite. I didn't see anybody there, so I'm assuming my guys went on to the shelter another 2.3 miles. So headed out that way. It's still snowing, although not as much. Obviously pitch black out here. But the real treat was that the bridge over that creek back there was out, presumably from the hurricane, and there was no way to cross that creek. So I actually had to wade across it. So I was a little bit deeper than ankle deep in that creek, and it's cold out and it's snowing. So now I got my feet are wet. Most of my feet are soaked because I had to wade that thing. So just another bonus event in today's adventures. So I'm going to turn this thing off and try to get to the shelter. Good morning and welcome to day 156. Looks like the sun's coming up behind me. The sky's getting pink. It's 7 a.m. There's snow on the ground. I've been hiking since about 6:30. Started in the dark. Pretty challenging, to say the least. You saw it snowed yesterday. It actually snowed really hard. I put the phone away because it was just too cold and wet to keep filming. And so I got into the shelter about 7:30 last night. It was dark. I had crossed that creek and was unable to find a rock crossing in the dark. So I ended up slipping into the creek and going ankle deep. So this morning when I woke up, my shoes were frozen and my socks were frozen solid. So couldn't put the socks on until I thawed them out. So I had to put them inside my jacket to thaw them out and put them on. So now I've got wet socks and wet shoes. I'm hoping they dry out a little bit. I've started to warm up a little bit because I'm going uphill here. But later today or tonight, it's supposed to be more snow and freezing rain. Terrible combination of weather and obviously very dangerous in these temperatures. So I'm going to push on. I think we're going to try to do about 18.3 to the next shelter, or 2 or 3 shelters down. So anyway, for now, I'm going to keep moving and Recon out. Sky looks pretty gray, and it's pretty cold out here. It's I've been ascending ever since I left the shelter, so it's gotten colder and more frozen as I've gotten higher. I just hope I can get to the next shelter before it really starts going. This is pretty. You can hear the wind. It's actually on the other side of the ridge. Right here. You can see the leaves. As soon as I cross over to that side, it's just brutal. And you see the trees going over there. There's a wind advisory starting at noon today. So, not sure what I can do, but keep hiking. This is really, really pretty. But this ridge line is killing me, man. This thing is so steep and so narrow. And when I get over to the right a little bit, the wind just whacks me. I don't know what the wind chill is, but it is pretty cold. Well, this is gonna be a problem. My water bottles are freezing as I'm walking. So the smaller one would drop down the front of my jacket. And the larger one, I've got a insulating sleeve I can put over, and hopefully they don't freeze solid. So this is the Keffer oak, K-E-F-F-E-R. This is the largest tree on the entire Appalachian Trail. It is estimated to be 300 years old, according to the thing. So look at the size of this monster. My gosh, it just keeps going up. It is so big. It spreads way out too. And I don't have anything that I give you scale, but this thing is enormous. Wind is crazy. I mean, I don't know how high it's going, but it's gusting pretty high. The trees are all over the place. I'm actually a little concerned about a tree falling on me. That could legitimately happen out here. I stopped at that last shelter a couple miles back, and there's 3 or 4 guys there about my age that were out for a week-long backpacking trip. And they're going shelter to shelter, so they're doing like 6 or 7 miles a day. So I got to the shelter and I wanted to make something for lunch, and I wasn't going to stay though. And they offered for me to stay, which was very nice of them. But they had a fire going, and they had a little I mean, they looked good. It was very tempting to stay, but I'd only gone 12 miles and it was only 2 o'clock. So I mean, I had 3.5 hours of daylight left, and Boom Boom and Breeze are up ahead of the next shelter. So it was only 5.8 more miles and about maybe 900 feet vertical to do. So anyway, I decided to move on. But I was very tempted to stay around that fire. Well, look at this place. Welcome to day 157. And it is miserable. So myself and 2 other guys stayed in the shelter right back here. The wind was horrendous all day long yesterday. Got in here, it was about 30 degrees. It started snowing. It snowed all night. Then it warmed up and turned into rain. We rigged up a couple tent flies across the front of this thing to keep the snow and wind and rain out. So today we're only going to go about 12.5 miles to the next shelter. It's still pretty windy. It's supposed to stop raining at some point. And this is just awful weather. This is definitely like hypothermia weather. So I'm going to get moving here and try to warm up a little bit, and I'll get up with you later. All right, so I left the shelter, back on trail. Got a long climb up out of the shelter to the ridge. Still really windy up there. Found out that yesterday the wind chill was 12 degrees on top of that ridge, where I think I got some video there for y'all. Anyway, It was snowing heavily last night. We lashed some tent flies across the opening of the shelter to keep the snow out. And then it turned to rain this morning. As I get higher, it's still raining, but it's actually turning into like sleet and freezing rain, which is bouncing off my jacket. So it's kind of ugly. I mean, we could use a break, I think. This is our third day of bad weather. Yesterday, I think I told you that my socks were frozen solid. My shoes were frozen. I had to thaw out my socks to put them on. This morning they weren't frozen, but they're still soaked. I mean, there's no way anything's gonna dry out here in this. We get about 32 miles to get to the hostel in Pearisburg. So we thought about staying at a campsite about 16 miles further on, but the problem is it's up on the ridge and you hear the wind, so not a good place to camp. So we're just gonna go to the next shelter in 12 miles and then make a decision tomorrow about doing a 20-mile day in to Pearisburg or breaking it up a little bit and doing another day tomorrow and then going in the day after tomorrow. So anyway, continue to climb and I'll get up with you later. Chase. Not awesome. This is not awesome. So about 7 miles to go to that next shelter, and you can see what's going on out here. The wind is insane. I don't know how cold it is. It's cold. Anyway, I just gotta get through it. There's no other choice here. I wanted to get some video so y'all can enjoy this as much as I am. Look at this trail. That's the trail right there. And look at the trail in front of me. Right up that way. And as you can see, it's nothing but rock. This trail would be hard to walk on in good weather. These rocks are miserable to step on. And now they're covered in snow. So they're slippery and sometimes you can't see them. I am not making a very good time. It's pretty miserable walking today. This is definitely not the best day I've had on trail. Well, good morning, and this is day 158, and I am leaving the shelter and starting to climb up to the ridge. It's 6:30 in the morning, and yesterday, as you saw, was a pretty rough day. Today should be better. It's not supposed to rain or snow today, I don't think, and it should be much less wind. So we're going to try to do 20 miles and get into Pearisburg, Virginia, and get to the hostel there, and go to the Mexican restaurant. Probably going to take a 0 day tomorrow and then try to position ourselves to get picked up in a couple days for our Thanksgiving dinner that we're going to have near Blanche, Virginia. So more on that to follow. So for now, I'm going to get going because I'm freezing and need to get up this hill and start warming up. So I left the shelter about 25 minutes ago. Sun's coming up. And the trail switchbacks back and forth as it ascends up to the ridge line. Good news is I'm not hearing any wind. It's not supposed to be as much. The last 2 days were awful, as you saw in the video. Anyway, I'm waiting for my toes and my fingers to warm up a little bit. They'll get warm once I start generating enough heat. It's very difficult to put wet socks and wet shoes on in the morning out here. It was 37 degrees by my thermometer. And my toes got pretty cold before I started hiking. You know, the key is to wait till the last possible minute. Get your shoes on and your socks on and start going. But unfortunately, I had a delay because I had to get water and my toes got really cold. But they're warming up now, and that's the life out here on the trail. It's very pretty and very peaceful out here right now, though. You hear how quiet it is. The other two guys are ahead of me, so I'll catch up to them later when we get to Pearisburg, hopefully. Pretty good hiking now. The weather has certainly gotten better. Earlier this morning, as I got more elevation, I got into more and more snow. And then it started warming up and the ice started melting and falling out of the trees to the point where I was getting soaked and I put my rain jacket on. But now I've gone about 8 miles, got about 12 miles to go, doing a total of 20 miles into Pearisburg. We'll be there this evening, and there's apparently a Mexican restaurant waiting at the end of the journey for me, so I'm looking forward to that. So there's the trail behind me, and that's the hill I just came up. I'm still going up, but just opened up into this beautiful view here. So I thought I'd get a little video of this. And after 3 days of awful weather, snow and sleet and rain and high winds, it's quite a treat to be able to stand out here and see all this without getting blasted. It's crazy what a change, huh? I mean, yesterday you saw the video, I was getting pelted by ice and snow, and it was like 28 degrees out, blowing hard. Now I'm in a long sleeve t-shirt and shorts, and it's a beautiful day. So I'm gonna make the most of it. I've got about 7.5 miles still to get to Pearisburg. It's 20 miles for the day, and there's a hostel and a Mexican restaurant waiting at the end of that. So I'm gonna hustle. Well, I'd say this deserves some video. There's the trail that I just came down, and I came up to the top of this, and look at this view. It's just amazing. I can't believe I'm standing up here in shorts today after 3 days of snow. Look at this. That's just gorgeous. And over behind me, over here, that is the rice field shelter. But I'm not stopping there because there's no Mexican restaurant. So I'm continuing on to Pearisburg. Well, it's getting dark out. Day 158 is coming to a close. We've got about a mile left to get into Pearisburg here, and then I'm going to text the Angel's Rest hostel, and they're going to send somebody to pick me up. So that's the plan. I think Boom Boom and Breeze are probably already there, and I'm the old man and slowest of the group. So anyway, they're waiting for me, and then we're getting Mexican dinner. So for now, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning from Pearisburg, Virginia, and this is day 159, and there's Boom Boom over there having his coffee, and there's Breeze on the floor with his coffee, and we got off trail here. We're taking a 0, so after the tempest of the last couple days, came here, warm up, taking a 0 day, and we are trying to schedule things to get picked up day after tomorrow to go into Blueville, West Virginia, where we have an Airbnb for Thanksgiving. So we're gonna chill today. Tomorrow we're gonna do a short hike to the next hostel where we'll get picked up for Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna sign out for now. We're gonna do some laundry, maybe do some shopping, get something to eat. But we're warm and we're dry and we're inside. Good morning and welcome to day 160. It is 7:48 in the morning. It's dark and cloudy outside. We are still here at the Angel's Rest Hostel. I think the plan today is 11 miles to the Woods Hole Hostel, and then this afternoon we're going to get picked up. No, I'm sorry, tomorrow afternoon we're going to get picked up by Daytona Mike, and he's going to take us down to the Airbnb for Thanksgiving. I wanted to show this thing though, because here is a full-length map of the Appalachian Trail, and it just goes all the way down here. So today is 160. I started here at Mount Catawba, Maine, and I've walked 1,560 miles so far, and I am all the way down here to Pearisburg, Virginia, and I've got this much left down to Springer Mountain, Georgia. So the section in here so far is about 260 miles that are closed. So that will probably have to be skipped, but you can see I'm a lot closer to Georgia than I am to Maine.